Cairo 7 at 11 starts right now.
A suspect taken away in handcuffs and in the last 90 minutes hauled into jail thanks to his eagle eye.
I did an abrupt U-turn, hit my lights, pulled my gun.
From the capture of the suspected gunman to what we're learning about all 5 victims in this mall massacre.
It's just completely heartbreaking that something like that can happen in an instant.
We've been tracking this story nonstop since it started last night with 5 people murdered to death inside the Cascade Mall.
And we have team coverage tonight from finally learning the identity of the suspected gunman, 20-year-old Arjan Satine, to what we now know about the victims.
This map shows where Arjan Satine was arrested tonight around 6:30. The Island County Sheriff's Office says he did not resist arrest and didn't say anything as he was taken into custody. Cairo 7's Amy Clancy live on Oak Harbor tonight with video of the suspect being taken into custody, and you talked to a lot of people who saw it as well.
Absolutely, and they tell us that that is where he was arrested, right there by that mailbox. And they also told me that he appeared very calm, especially for a man suspected of murdering 5 people.
It looks just like him.
Witnesses saw 20-year-old Arjan Satine surrender to police on North Oak Harbor Street around 6:30 Saturday evening after a nearly 24-hour manhunt.
Walking with his bag, he just looked like he was anxious, like he was trying to get something out. So I don't know if he had a weapon on him or what he was doing.
When we pulled out our apartment complex, we saw a bunch of cops, but we didn't expect it to be right there.
Satine appeared to be wearing the same shirt, shorts, even socks from surveillance images released by law enforcement hours earlier.
There was a guy that looked pretty identical to what the shooter looked like, and they arrested him on the spot.
Jessica Aguilar recognized the pictures because she knows the suspect.
I even told my boyfriend, I said, that looks exactly like Arjan. He seemed fine to me. I mean, I wouldn't suspect him to do anything like this.
Satine has been arrested for assault before and was ordered to stay away from weapons. But his MySpace page shows children with guns. Cairo 7 blurred the faces because it's not clear if the younger child is him.
They got him in custody.
Tonight, this entire neighborhood is relieved an arrest has been made, even if it was their friend and neighbor taken into custody.
He seemed like he is a good person, you know, maybe just with something, he was going through troubles or whatever.
I feel sorry for the families affected by it, but I'm really glad that he's been caught.
And investigators said they don't know much about motive, but they hope to get a lot of information about why this happened from the suspect himself. Reporting live in Oak Harbor, Amy Clancy, Cairo 7 News.
All right, thanks, Amy. And now we want to go live to Cairo 7's Petrania Poonswan. She was inside that news conference as authorities talked about this arrest. She's outside to talk about it with us and share some of the details right now. Petrania.
That's right, Lindsay. This press conference came about 3 hours after that arrest that Amy was just talking about. I got a chance to ask a lot of questions to authorities about how he was arrested. This suspect, Arjan Satine, and they say that they had 2 big things helping them: numerous tips from the public and surveillance cameras from businesses around Cascade Mall.
And in reviewing that footage, we were able to identify a suspect vehicle, which we didn't have earlier.
And that was Lieutenant Chris Comic, who's been heading this multi-law enforcement operation. He says because of the surveillance footage, they were able to identify a number of agencies, including the Island County Sheriff's Office. And one of the deputies there actually spotted Satine walking on Oak Harbor Road, where his vehicle was also spotted. Authorities say that Satine is a 20-year-old Oak Harbor High School graduate who emigrated to this country from Turkey. Authorities say that they're not ruling out terrorism as a motive at this point. Governor Inslee was also here, and he said he's so happy to see him behind bars in less than 24 hours after that shooting happened. So, you know, we got him to ask also about the weapons that was at the weapon that was found. He had a rifle at that mall, and that they have that as evidence. Also, they did not find any weapons on him when he was arrested, but now that they're well, let's hear from Governor Inslee and also the mayor of Burlington, who was also here at this press conference.
I've been across the state today from Tacoma to Othello to Burlington, and I can say that all of our hearts are in Burlington tonight. I know that there's 7 million pairs of arms that would want to embrace the families and their losses and the whole Skagit County community.
That was us in that mall last night, any one of us at any time. And it changed those families forever. We need to keep them in our prayers.
And also, authorities said that when he was arrested, Satine was arrested, he was in a zombie-like state at the time. I also asked him about where Satine may have gotten his weapons. They say right now they're still looking into it. Also, I asked him why he targeted Macy's, why he chose that cosmetic counter to go in and started shooting. Right now, they don't have yet, but they said that they don't want to rule anything out, especially when it comes to terrorism. We asked that, and they say they can't rule anything out right now. For now, Satine is due to be in court on Monday morning here in Skagit County. Reporting live in Mount Vernon, Petrania Poonswan, Cairo 7 News.
Petrania, I'm curious, did they give you any indication on how far along they are into the investigation, how long they think this is going to take to really get to the meat and bones, if you will, of what they want to know?
Well, right now they say even though they have this man behind bars, it's still in the early stages of the investigation. Still a lot of questions that they could not answer me today. So definitely that will be coming out in, the later days as we continue to cover this story here on Cairo 7.
And making his first appearance Monday. Thank you very much, Petrania. We looked far back into the history of the suspect and learned he's been involved in a few domestic violence related cases.
In 2014, Arjan Satine was added as a defendant in a domestic violence related case. He wasn't convicted, but was told for the first time not to possess firearms. During the case, a formal no-contact order was entered for his parents. In December of 2014, that no-contact order was lifted.
In 2015, Satine was added as part of a different domestic violence case. He wasn't convicted in that case either, but he was ordered to undergo a mental evaluation and had mental counseling. Family and friends have confirmed the identities, meantime, of 3 of the 5 shooting victims, including the mother of a teenager who is speaking out tonight.
Such a tragedy. Cairo 7's Deborah Horn is live at the Skagit County Jail in Mount Vernon for us tonight. And Deborah, there must be some small amount of comfort for these families now that a suspect is in custody.
Absolutely, Lindsay. They tell me they are quite pleased that he is now here at the Skagit County Jail. But I spoke to the mother of a Mount Vernon High School sophomore. She says she is very upset because she believes more should have been done to make sure her daughter and others could shop and be safe.
She just wants to say that she wants justice for her daughter, because she was just going shopping.
Evangelina Lara stood in the embrace of her family talking about the unthinkable. She, her husband, and their 16-year-old daughter, Sarai, went to the Cascade Mall together Friday night. But they split up, and Sarai went into Macy's. That is the last time she saw her daughter alive.
And she wants justice and the store to take responsibility for what happened.
You want the store to take the responsibility. Lara says Macy's failed to protect her child.
She says, yes, she wants the store to take responsibility because they didn't have any security that was trained to take care of a situation like this.
Indeed, no one was able to stop alleged shooter Arjan Satine as he continued on his murderous rampage. Also killed were 64-year-old Belinda Galdi, a probation officer based in Arlington, and her 95-year-old mother, Beatrice Dotson. A 4th victim, also a woman, worked as a makeup stylist at the Macy's cosmetics counter.
Those seeking to find answers.
These classmates of Sarai sought solace at a vigil in Cedro Woolley tonight.
We had 2 classes together and we had lunch also together. We took our last pictures together also.
Our school is going to be wearing pink and purple for her on Monday, so to just show your respect for her.
Now, there is a 5th victim, a man who died last night at Harborview Medical Center. Now, there are pictures of Belinda Galdi and her mother all over social media, but her family asked us not to use them until they get formal notification of her death. Reporting live in Mount Vernon, Deborah Horn, Cairo 7 News.
Prayers and plenty of questions, of course, today as community members gathered to remember the victims.
What must we do? What must we do to put an end to this seemingly endless series of senseless tragedies?
People gathered at the Central United Methodist Church in the neighboring town of Cedro Woolley today, seeking comfort during a terrible time of tragedy.
You're the one
An emotional service tonight as well at His Place Community Church in Burlington. A crowd of people sang, embraced, and took comfort in one another after last night's shooting.
And tragedies like this serve to remind us. They make it, sadly, it's momentary, but they make it so clear how much we have in common and how connected we are, even if we've never met.
It's the same church that opened its doors last night in just the hours after the shooting, so families desperate for answers could have a place to gather.
Tonight, Burlington's mayor spoke with us before the suspect's arrest and had a message for the community.
Just keep us in your prayers. That's what we really need at this time. And the families that lost people, their world has changed forever, and they need to be in all of our prayers.
Mayor Sexton says the shooting has not only brought Burlington together, but the entire community of Skagit County.
We want to walk you through now the timeline of events that got us to where we are tonight.
And it began with a quiet evening at Cascade Mall in Burlington last night. Now you're looking at Chopper 7 video of Cascade Mall, where at 6:52, a gunman walked through the Macy's with a rifle, then opened fire, killing 5 people. State Patrol says the shooting happened at the makeup counter. 6 minutes later, the first 911 calls rolled in.
At 7:48, State Patrol Sergeant Mark Francis starts updating the public via Twitter, telling people to stay away from Cascade Mall. Cairo 7 crews at the same time start heading to Burlington and arrive to lights and sirens, not just on mall property, but searching nearby streets and neighborhoods and stores. At 8:03, the death toll starts at 4, then it goes down to 3, and at midnight it changes again.
At 9:12, the first picture of the suspect is released from the Skagit County Department of Emergency Management. It is cropped. Cairo 7 obtained the full image minutes later, and that image, as you see there, shows the suspect holding a rifle.
The FBI in Seattle tweets at 10:38 there were no indications of other planned attacks in Washington. Washington State Patrol, the FBI, the Department of Homeland Security, all a part of the multi-agency response that we saw throughout Burlington and Skagit County, a full court press searching for the shooter. At 10:50, authorities announced that they'd finished 2/3 of their final clear of the mall, but the mall is 434,000 square feet in size, and 11 separate search teams continued looking for survivors. At 11:21 Friday night, the official death count changes again. 4 women are confirmed dead. Hours later, overnight, a 5th victim, a man who had been flown via helicopter to Harborview, passed away, bringing the death toll to 5.
The Macy's store where the shooting occurred says it is working closely with law enforcement during the investigation. Company officials released a statement about it this morning that says, in part, we are devastated by the tragic events that occurred last night at Cascade Mall. Our hearts are with our Burlington store, the families and loved ones of the victims, and the entire community.
As you would expect, we're keeping a close eye on the shooting suspect. We will bring you more live updates throughout this newscast if they happen, and of course, online and through all of our various social media apps, including KIRO7.com.